computer's trying to install updates now that I restarted.
Okay.
That's ridiculous. I wonder if I won't be able to screen share this way, but I might be able to do it on my phone.
It's more complicated on the phone.
Yeah.
Okay, if anybody is joining us, we're having a little technical difficulty, so if you can just stay with us here for a few minutes, we will have this squared away. It'll be a business.
Okay, so I'm on my phone, and it seems to be joining.
Yeah, your picture's there.
Yeah, but I can't share my screen, so this is just on my phone.
Okay, we'll go with that for now. Make the best of it, or maybe I can share my screen and you can tell me where to go.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay. All right, we have one viewer on, and just getting started here. We'll give it a couple minutes for people to join us on the webinar and get connected. So, Rob, you can hear me through your phone?
Yep, I'm hearing you just fine.
Okay, I'm going to hang up on the phone, or hang up on the phone call, okay?
Okay.
All right, because I don't hear you on my headphones. So we'll give this a try. Okay, Rob, can you still hear me? Can you hear me? I can't hear you. No sound. Nope. Okay, hang on. Call you back.
Hey.
No sound.
Yeah, I can see you, but I can't hear you.
All right. Okay, so the people that are joining us, we're having a little bit of technical difficulty, but if you can go to the right side of your screen, there's a chat. I see Tim Newman there. Tim, can you hear me? Is my voice fine? So if you go in the chat, let me know, Tim. I greatly appreciate that. Sorry for all the technical difficulty. Google sees my sound because the indicator is going up and down. But we're having a problem with Rob.
Yeah.
Rob. Well, Rob, I'll put my phone up here. Can you talk, Rob? I lost you.
Hey, everybody, how's it going?
I lost your video.
Yep, I'm going to try logging back in with a different account, see if that helps at all.
Okay. So, Tim, you can hear me. Okay. Can you hear Rob, Tim?
Hey, Tim, can you hear me?
The chat's got like a minute delay in it, so we have to wait. Actually, I got two connections with you now, Rob.
Okay. Are you hearing me now through Google at all?
No.
No. All right. I mean, nothing is muted. It's coming through the head. Is this any different? Just took it off of my headphones and just into my phone.
Still no sound.
Okay.
So you hear Rob, Tim, we assume that's through the phone. And Beavis, you can hear Tim too. Okay. So Tim, you there? Or no, Tim, I mean Rob, you there?
I'm here.
Okay, we're gonna do it with the cell phone here.
All right.
All right. We've got a number of viewers on. Thank you guys for being patient. We're going to try to work through some of these technical difficulties here. So you can see me, you can hear me. Thanks, Martin, Ashley, Beavis, and Tim, and the others that are joining us as we talk. Okay, so the purpose tonight for this webinar is part of Finish Line Planner, my company, and what we're attempting to do is to develop resources and quality resources for churches, especially bivocational and very busy pastors. And part of those resources that we want to offer you are organizations Okay, wait, Rob, you are on.
I'm here. All right, it's working.
Whoa, yeah, it is working. Thanks, guys, for being patient with us. I'm not sure what
There
you
we
did,
go.
Rob, but that's good. All right, thanks. Okay, as I was saying, purpose of Finish Line Planner and you being part of our subscription list and stuff is we want to bring quality resources that are low-hanging fruit, that are affordable, that are impactful, and don't take a lot of time. So as a busy pastor or a bivocational pastor or somebody who's maybe a volunteer, and you have little time in your area of ministry, but you want to upgrade what you're able to do and accomplish, we want to come along the side of you and help you. So we are in the process of developing some more products to help you, content to help you, training materials to help you with, and we want to introduce you to our network of organizations, ministries, and businesses that are there to help you. I don't make commissions or affinity, or call it association commissions or whatever, majority of the time. And just in case I don't, my concern is about serving you. So tonight, we're going to introduce you to Simple Church Media. And in the first part of this presentation, we are going to show you how you can do a better job with the graphics in your ministry, how you can upgrade them, how you can use free tools, some of the gotchas to watch out for, and how to do a better job. Okay? Then, if you're find that maybe that's above your head, even though it's free, and we try to spell it out to you, or you're just busy, you're a bivocational minister and you don't have time, we want to talk to you about how Simple Church Media can come along with you hand in hand and help you with your graphics and what they've done to make that extremely affordable and the quality that they can do to upgrade your graphics. So, Rob, why don't you just introduce yourself and say hi to the folks?
Yeah, hey everybody. My name's Rob. I am a worship pastor based out of Seattle, Washington, and also the founder of Simple Church Media. So I work in a church full time. I'm bivocational in that sense. Help with worship ministries, as well as have started this business to help resource churches with better graphic design. Because what I've found over my years of ministry is there's been so many times where I have just been spending more time on other aspects, such as the creative pieces, than I am on the discipleship and the ministry pieces. So I wanted to provide a tool and a resource for other pastors in similar situations to me.
All right. So thank you, Rob. So again, thank you guys for being patient, helping, and as we deal with these technical problems that we dealt with tonight. So we just got to run a quick test here. So Rob is going to show us some free alternatives for graphics. So Rob, you want to do a quick test on that screen share and see if you can screen share to your browser?
Yeah.
Okay. And by the way, we use Simple Church Media at Finish Line Planner, and it is so nice to not have to worry about graphics, to send over my request to them and for them to make a quick turnaround. I used to do my own graphics. Okay, Rob, your screen is up, so I'll turn it over to you, and you can show some folks some of the free alternatives and things they can do with graphics.
Great, sounds good. Yeah, one of the things that I get asked a lot by people that aren't doing, don't have graphic design as one of their primary tools in their toolbox, so to speak, is what is a free way for me to make some good quality graphics? And most people don't have access to Photoshop if they haven't been trained in Photoshop. And in addition to that, Photoshop, as well as many other creative products, primarily Adobe being the industry standard there, tend to be very expensive. And so one that I regularly refer people to is called Canva. And so I'll give you a quick overview of Canva. It's a free program, free website, canva.com. And they do a fantastic job walking you through all of the different design aspects. So you simply go to their website, create a free account, click create a design, and then you're going to determine, okay, what's the size going to be? So we'll do a presentation. And then let's say, so it's going to give me just some rough layouts. I like this one. I click on that. And then let's say we are doing something, say we have a sermon series, Book of Matthew. Walking with Jesus through his ministry. Okay, then we could put our logo here. We could change the font or anything on this, and then literally, potentially in a matter of a couple minutes, we could have created a very good looking graphic. Now you could also, if you have a background that you wanted to use, say you took a photo out while you were hiking, you could go and you could upload your own background just by clicking here. Actually, rather go into uploads, upload your own images. I'll just find something quickly in my downloads folder.
And notice the blue wave there in that the up button. That's telling it that it's doing the upload. That will go totally blue when it's all the way up. So you have to be patient and let it upload it.
Yeah. Then once that is uploaded, we can just drag it onto the image, and it's probably showing up behind. Where are we at here? There we go. I'll stretch this to fill the right size. Obviously, this isn't exact. I would do it differently. But here we go. Now I have that image set up. I'd change the text to match over this new background. You can change the font of the text here by double-clicking, finding your right color scheme. Oh, which as a kind of side note, is one of my favorite features of Canva is you can choose brand colors, which is something we can talk more about later if you'd like, is creating a brand style guide for your church. So what's really important is for you to have consistent branding. So that would mean using the same colors, the same fonts, same sort of wording and language, and the same logo over and over. That way people can quickly identify with your church. They'll see that font and they'll recognize it without even realizing they're recognizing, oh, that's New Life Church. They see a certain color and they think, oh, that's New Life Church. So Canva allows you to upload your brand colors. And that way you can quickly select what is the appropriate brand color from your color scheme. So that would be the first free tool. Do you want me to hang out on that a little bit more, or would you guys like to see some other things that we have?
Okay, let's see here. Give me a second. Lost my chat. There we go. Okay. So yeah, anybody have any questions about the Canva? And give a minute here. So a couple things about Canva. There's the free account that you were talking about there, Rob. But also as a church nonprofit, you can upgrade to the professional version of Canva for free.
I did not actually know that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very good to know.
Yeah, when you sign up, I don't know exactly where the link is, but you can communicate and you can get the professional version, which has a lot more features. So questions are coming in. What kind of files can be saved?
With Canva?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Let's see. So I think they're probably primarily going to save as JPEGs and PNGs.
Right. If you hit the download button.
Where did
upper right hand corner there, that download.
Yeah, there we go.
And then you have a drop down.
Yep. So PDFs as well. So if you're which brings up a good point, and we might discuss this a little bit more in detail later. Mm-hmm. But when you are working on any sort of design, it's really important that you recognize what is the media designed for. Is this designed for print or is this designed for web? Because if you're designing something for print, say you're going to print out 1,000 Easter flyers to pass out in your local neighborhood, you want to use totally different file sizes and file types than you would if you were making a graphic for your website for Easter.
Mm-hmm. Now, there's multiple PDFs there, isn't there?
Yeah, it's a PDF standard and a PDF print.
What's the difference between the two?
The difference, I'm going to guess, is going to be most likely the dots per square inch, the DPI. So it's going to be much higher resolution for print.
Okay.
So with web, we generally don't need as high resolution because it's not going to be zooming in as much, and you also want to save a lot of space for web. If you find that your website is regularly running really slow, it might be that you have really high resolution images that you've uploaded and they need to be compressed. Whereas we wouldn't want to use a compressed image if we were going to print.
Sure. Okay, we got a question coming about PowerPoint. So Rob will work with you on this one. So can we start a new design? Go back to the other tab on Canva there.
Yep.
At the top of your tabs. That's usually where I do it. So you get the one you're on currently in Canva, and then there's one next to it on the browser tabs.
Browser tabs.
The one next to it.
Oh,
you go there.
Back to the home page.
Okay. Right. So here's the home page. They want to do PowerPoint. So let's look at use custom dimensions. So I don't think there's a PowerPoint one there, is there?
No, there's not.
Okay. So go to custom dimensions. At the very top right.
I'm missing that. Yeah, there we go.
There we go. Okay. All right. So when using custom dimensions here, the first thing you want to do is your units, and we're talking about PowerPoint slides here. So the units currently are px for pixels.
Yep.
I'm going to drop that down, make that inches. Okay. The current version of most PowerPoint slides is 16 by 9. So you do 16 inches by 9 inches.
Yeah, that's a very standard resolution as well.
Correct. And then you would hit design.
Oops, I clicked out of it.
Okay. And what you get here now is a blank canvas. Okay. Because they don't have pre-designed PowerPoint templates for you, but you can upload, you can add text. So go to the text options there.
Yep.
Okay. So you got your heading, subheading, the little text, but then you've got pre-formatted fancy text sets. If you scroll down that list, these are already pre-formatted for you. Maybe grab one and throw it over there. I'll show them how it works. Okay, make it larger by dragging it out. There, and then you go and type. And there's 3 sections to that, right? There's the Catherine Smith section. Then there's that middle section, the beautician. And then the bottom section. Okay, so you get some really cool professional looking font sets by doing that. Or you can scroll through the top and just use the heading, subheading, and just do a line of text as well.
Yep.
Okay. And maybe another quick feature we can show them is elements. Go to shapes. Grab any shape you want.
Yeah, I'll find one of these.
Boom. Size it. Change the color. Now notice the plus sign. You can go into this plus sign under the colors. And you can choose from the palette, or you can type in the color code at the bottom if you understand how color codes work. Also, then you have the slider bar for how dark you want it to be or light. So really quick, you can do some cool stuff.
Yep.
All right. Now, I'm going to show you the $1 million feature here. Go to Elements. Go to Frames. Okay, scroll down and find a circle one. Plain circle. Some of the circle ones at the top have stripes in them. I don't. That's got a stripe in it. I don't want that one. I want a full one. Put it a little lower. Do the cell phones. Go back up to the cell phone one. Up. Right there. A couple. Down. right there. Oh yeah, grab a cell phone. Now go to your pictures, either upload or free pictures, and drop it in it. Drop a picture in there. Boom. Now you got a picture on the cell phone. Okay. Now, if you double click on that picture on the cell phone, you can arrange it, drag it around, size it larger. You can't size it smaller. Then hit the check mark. Yep. So really cool stuff there for Canvas. And now, so this one, if I was going to do this as PowerPoint, I'd probably download it JPEG.
Yeah.
Right. When you download it, then it goes through your downloading, just like you're downloading a file in your downloading folder. And that's where you'll find the file. Now, the name of the file, if you go and click on the name at the top next to the share button, that's where you put the name in for your file. If you want to do a custom name or special name for it.
And one thing to think through if you're going to be using this for something like PowerPoint is this is creating a JPEG image, which is not editable, right? So if you go into PowerPoint and say this was the First Peter sermon series, and you didn't want that First Peter text to be there, that is going to be there. So you might want to export a couple of different versions. This is what we'll generally do when we make sermon series slides, is we will do a version that, say, has the title slide. We'll do a version that has the title slide smaller, right? Maybe in the top right or top left-hand corner. And then we'll do another version that might only have the main background image. And that way, when you import that into PowerPoint, you can still add whatever text, whatever sermon notes you want to have.
Right. I did a banner. Somebody's had a question here about a banner. I did... was it 18 by 22 inch banner in Canva, put it out as a PDF and took it over to Kinko's, and they printed some nice banners for me. So you can use this for larger banners as well.
Yeah, very cool.
So the next question up is free, good quality stock photos.
Yeah, great question. So the number one biggest sin is Google image search. Whatever you do, do not do a Google image search and just take whatever image you're finding off of Google. There's two main reasons for that. Number one, it can be illegal. And obviously, we don't want to do anything illegal in general, but especially as ministries, we want to be completely ethical and above reproach there. So you need to make sure that everything you get is going to be free, common use.
Okay, before we move forward, questions are coming in. We're sorry the chat's a little delayed here. First is, can you make the PowerPoint slide image transparent? So grab another photo. I think we can do this with photos. Just drag a photo onto the canvas there. Not even a cell phone, just a regular photo, right?
Yeah.
Right, and then the photo we can't. I thought, yeah, we can. So there's a transparent icon in the upper right-hand corner next to the link, and you can make it transparent there.
Yeah, okay. And then another thing to consider, if you want a transparent background, so say I've left this white space for whatever reason, and you don't want that to be white, you actually want it to be transparent, you would want to download this as a PNG rather than a JPEG, and that will leave transparent backgrounds.
Yes.
Or rather, it looks like they also want you to click this option, transparent background, which you need to have the professional version for.
Which are free for churches.
Are free for churches.
Yeah. Okay. So another question came in. So they want to work on this image. They want to save it and come back to it later. Okay. So later, it works better than it does current. So if we would exit out of what we've been editing, let's leave it. Okay.
Yep.
All right. And then we should be able to refresh the screen. F5 to refresh it, or whatever technique is there.
And my designs.
All right, there.
There we go.
And if there's design on the front page, you click on it, it brings it back. And I'll do it forever. I've got hundreds of these in my Canvas files. So it saves it and you can come back and work on it later. Okay, so now we can move on to the stock photos.
Yeah, great. So yeah, stock photos. Number one, don't use Google image search because it can be illegal. And number two, you're generally getting low resolution. Like I was mentioning earlier, when you're uploading to web, you want to compress the files. You don't want to be uploading really high resolution photos to that because it's going to cause your load times for your website to be very slow. Google also keeps this in mind for Google image search, and it compresses all the files quite a bit. So when you are creating a graphic from scratch, you want to start with the highest quality photo you can. So that said, let me give you two great resources for that. My two go-tos on a daily basis is a website called Pexels. And can you see my screen here?
We can, yep.
Great. So pexels.com, P-E-X-E-L-S, has a whole bunch of fantastic free stock photos that photographers upload and just give you free access to. You can download all the license information here if you ever needed that. That's generally only going to matter if you were selling the photos, that you would actually have to keep a copy of that, but it is still really good to know that you have completely royalty-free photos that you can use in any way you would like. So then we'll just search Pexels database. I'm going to search for, say, something with a Bible background. This comes up. Whole bunch of great photos here. I'm going to go with this first one here. You can see the contributor. You can download it. And now we have high resolution photo of the Bible. And so now if I go back into Canva, I can upload that Bible photo. Almost there. And now,
yeah, wait for the blue thing to quit waving.
yeah.
Sometimes it'll work, sometimes it doesn't. Okay.
And there we go. Now I have a free Bible picture that is completely legal. All the copyright license information is legit. Second favorite spot to go to is a website called Freely Photos, F-R-E-E-L-Y, photos.com. And this is entirely Christian-based. Really cool website. The guy that runs it is a super cool guy. He did a Kickstarter recently to help fund it and to help get a better database for everything. But just like Pexels, it has a search bar. We could search for the Bible. And all the different photos with the Bible that he's taken will come up. But he also has some great categories listed out. So I'll frequently use this when I know, okay, I want something specific to a worship night that we're going to have coming up. So I might look under church life, and here's something that looks like it would be good for a worship night. I can keep looking if that's not quite the right feel for me. Here's another great one for a worship night. So those would be my top two favorite spots to go to for free stock photos. Okay. Another great option. Did you have something here?
I was going to say Picabay.
Yep, I've used Picabay a little bit. I think I've ended up using primarily Pexels and Freely Photos just because of their organization and archiving systems.
Okay. Yeah,
so there's tons of great options out there.
All right, so I found a photo, but it's a wrong size for my canvas, or I just want to focus on a certain part of that. So if we go back to Canva.
Yep.
How can I crop the photo?
Yeah. So you can do a couple things here. I could just resize, and Canva is set up so that in most apps you would have to hold the Shift key to keep the same sizing here. But in this case, it just keeps all the proportions the same for you. Place that wherever I want. Or I can crop here. If I say just wanted the Bible, stretch that out. Put the check mark, and now we just have our Bible image. Drag that to stretch it across, and there we go.
And then click the OK or the check mark. There. Okay, so when I'm cropping and I'm stretching, I can really mess up pictures. What are some of the rules?
Some of the rules are generally, number one, start with the highest resolution image that you can, right? So if you have something, if we're going to do something for print and you're starting with a graphic that you made for web, you're going to be stretching that out way too much most of the time. So you really need to start with the highest resolution image you can. Then after that, as far as cropping goes, you want to keep your dimensions in mind. Is this like a 16:9 like this setup, or is it more of a 4:3? 4:3 would be like if you think of the old tube TVs, all those are going to be in more of a 4:3 standard orientation.
Okay. Now, another thing that you're doing, I don't know if people caught on this now, as you move the image around, you'll see this little dash line show up, letting you know that you are centered.
Yep.
Can you show that? There. So we're centered left and right. But if you drag it down now, get it centered top to bottom.
Yep. Can you see the purple lines here?
There. It's there. Boom. There. See the lines show up? That's when you're centered. So make that a little bit smaller. Bring up another shape or graphic and show how it aligns. Did you understand that, Rob?
I'm not exactly sure what you wanted. But...
Yeah, make it a little smaller, right? And then get a shape or another picture or something and how they align to each other.
Oh, gotcha. How
or text. You can do it with text too.
It'll snap. You can see here, my mouse is kind of snapping either to the top of the image or center of the image there.
Right.
And it's also snapping right onto that image there.
Right. Okay, but make that picture smaller too.
Yep.
Downside the railroad picture. Make it really small.
Yeah, it is. I think we got some lag going on here.
Okay, there. Now try to line it. There we go. So see the line appears when they're both in the middle. So bring the railroad picture down a little bit so that it's centered with the Bible picture. Or you do the Bible one. You can do the Bible one too. Yeah. Boom. There. The line shows up saying that these two pictures are centered with each other. There. Yeah. So they help you with the alignment. Very cool tool, Canva.
Yep.
The God sent, and you look very professional, and play around with the tools. You'll learn a lot more with those. Fonts. What are some rules about fonts in the different environments?
Yeah. So first thing we think of is the 3 R's. Is your font readable? Is it relevant? And is it reusable? What we mean by that is, and actually I'll start with relevant. Let's take this image that we've just created with Canva. So if I were to take a font that is, find fonts here. There we go. We're having a baby girl font. Doesn't really fit the vibe of what we're working with here, right? Mm-hmm. I wouldn't want something that is another option. So Parmesan cheese. That is very much titled based off, okay, that looks like a food sort of font. Let's give another bad example here.
What about that Savigny?
Where do we go?
Where you were previously. It was real hard to read font.
I missed it.
Yeah, it was close to the Parmesan cheese.
Close to the Parmesan. Oh yeah, exactly. This would be very hard to read. So that would go to our readable. quote, right? So we have, is this relevant? Judging by these two pictures, I'm going to look at this and I'm going to think, okay, I'm probably going to be doing some sort of conversation or story about a journey through God's word, right? We have a girl walking down a railroad and we have the Bible. It'd be a great opportunity to do a sermon series, journeying through God's word. Doing Parmesan cheese font or we're having a baby girl font just isn't going to have that feel, right? Journey through God's word. That doesn't look super great. This doesn't look super great. And then readable, this is just not even readable, right? You're not going to look at the Savan and really be able to know what this is saying. So those first two things, is it relevant? So does it actually fit what we're doing, what we're talking about? Is it readable? And then is it reusable? Now, what I mean by reusable is it a font that you're going to be able to use for weeks on end without getting really tired of it? An example would be, there was a really popular font for quite a while, and no shame on you if you've done this, because I did it as well. But there's a really popular font for a while called Bleeding Cowboys. Super cool looking font, but it got worn out really, really quick, and it was not a reusable font. Is what everybody, I think, started to discover pretty quickly, is it looks cool one time, but after you've seen it once, it really doesn't help reinforce whatever story you're trying to tell through your images. So those are the first, the 3 R's, the readable, relevant, and reusable, something you always want to think about for your fonts.
Okay, Rob, we got a question coming in.
Yeah.
Let's just do a header text so we can control the font look and stuff. Just grab the header one up there. This person wants to know if we can import fonts. I don't believe you can in Canva.
No. But
if you look at the drop down, show them the list of fonts in the drop down that they have choices of. On the right hand, or at the top of the page there by the 42.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. There. So we scroll through that list.
Oh, yeah. It looks like you probably can if you have the pro account.
Okay. You can upload fonts, but they have a huge list without uploading. I mean,
yeah, there's tons and tons of different fonts, and I don't know this like the back of my hand like I do Photoshop, because 99% of what I'm going to do in Photoshop or Illustrator. But we're using this because it's a free tool, and we want to make sure that you're completely resourced to be able to do whatever you need with the tools that are out there.
Right. Yeah, I'm always surprised finding new and powerful stuff in Canva.
Yeah, it really is a great tool. Another thing to consider, to remember with fonts, Hugh, is the amount of fonts that you use. One of the top design sins that we see is people finding 3 or 4 or 5 fonts for their graphic, and it just becomes busy and messy and unreadable. So the general rule of thumb is you want 1 to 2 fonts for your graphic. You can sometimes stretch it with using 3, but it's got to be a very unique piece, I would say.
Okay.
Go
ahead.
The way that you can, so that might sound really boring, right? It might sound like, well, 1 font, how am I ever going to be able to do enough with 1 font? And that's where you start to use font variants, right? So, and I can't show it as easily in Canva, but at least I don't think I can. No. But you can see here, there's aileron thin and aileron regular. Okay, yeah, actually I can show it well. So I have 3 font variants here. Sermon series. And then gonna add more text again. Now I just used aileron heavy. Now let's use aileron light.
You go up, up.
There it is.
Yeah.
Sub-series name. Typing. Right, So now I'm using the same exact font, but it looks totally different. So if we go back to the 1 Peter example that I was using earlier, just happens to be what my church is going through right now. Exiles of Christ.
And also, if you want to demonstrate, dragging the font around and it that magical line appears whenever it's aligned.
Exactly. There you can see we're centered there. You can see the best location for it under that subheader. You see that extra purple bar popping up there versus if I have it lower, it's going to say, okay, the best spot visually is right here.
Right. Okay. So one of the things that I teach on fonts is, especially if you have senior citizens, people with a lot of eyeglasses and stuff, and you're making slides for your church, you want to go sans serif, right?
Yep.
And what sans serif means is the font is solid. It doesn't have curly cues or thin parts. So what we have here on the screen now is sans serif. That's a lot easier on the eyes. So show them a serif, one that you wouldn't use.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that one has a little extra, the T has a little tips on the X on it and stuff. That really causes a eye not to be able to focus on the fonts.
Yep,
so
exactly.
Solid, bold, sans serif fonts. That custard or droid, yeah, droid's another one. Yeah, that's not good for the eyes.
Yeah, and so what we might do in a design aspect is, so I might use this font, droid serif. It's not a bad font, but I want to be intentional with how and when I use it, right? So I might use droid serif for my 1 Peter and my Exiles in Christ as a big, the entire image font. But then when I'm doing any sermon notes or anything like that, I'll definitely want to make sure that I'm switching to a sans serif.
The solid fonts, yeah.
Yep.
Wow. Any more questions before we move on about using free tools, the free stock photos, the fonts, the layouts, social media versus print, JPEG, PNG, PDFs? Bring your questions on. And we can catch on the questions here in a second. So next, we want to talk to you about Simple Church Media and how you can take advantage of Simple Church Media and what they can do for you. Use the free tools when you can, but if you get busy or if you start doing sermon series and get in the habit of having slides every time you do a sermon, that stuff can add up really quick. Or you're going to do a really big event in town and you want everything to be crisp and sharp. Simple Church Media is a great resource for you. So far, do bring your questions in. As you know, there's a little delay here, but I want to turn it back to Rob to explain a Simple Church Media, the options that they have, and what option would work best for you if you want to bring them on as part of your team. Okay,
yeah.
Rob?
Yeah, sounds great, Hugh. Yeah, so Simple Church Media, we have set it up so that we try and streamline the process as much as possible so that we can keep the price really affordable for pastors and ministry leaders, as well as to make it as simple as possible for you. As I said earlier, I know firsthand how much time it can take to be creating graphics on a regular basis, which is why we came up with this. And so we have a 3-tier pricing plan, and all 3 tiers include unlimited graphic design work. And they're just throttled based on how complex, basically, the work is that you're going to need. So I'll show you our plans page here. If you go to simplechurchmedia.com/plans, you can see the 3 different plans that we offer. And you can get all the details on any of them by hovering over everything. But I'll just give you a quick overview.
Rob, or they can click on the Get Access Now blue button on the right-hand side of their screen.
Oh, perfect. Or you can click the blue button on the right-hand side of your screen. Wonderful. Yeah, but so all of the plans are going to have unlimited design requests. And when I say unlimited, I truly mean unlimited. Keep sending in whatever you need, and we will work on them as quickly as we possibly can. The only limitation is going to be how quickly we can work, right? So if it's a really simple design, say like what we just made for First Peter here, we could do multiple of those in a day. If it's a more complex one, say we just made some pretty cool PDFs for Hugh within the past week, that might take a little bit more time because you're needing to go back and forth with us a little bit on revisions. All of the plans have unlimited revisions. All of the plans are going to include no contracts. And then the only other major throttle is just going to be the file types you receive. The campus plan and the congregational plan are both going to include all file types. So the Photoshop files or the Illustrator files, so you could go back in and edit them yourself. But if you don't need that, you can go with the simpler plan, the church planter plan, which will give you all the basic file types, your JPEG, your PDF, and your PNGs. Mm-hmm. And so let me give you a back-end view of what this actually looks like. Once you've signed up for an account, let me see.
So where do they sign up for an account?
So let's see. Will that blue button on the right-hand screen work?
We'll take them to the pricing page.
Yep. So when you sign up on the pricing page, that is going to take you through Join Now.
Join Now. Done. Okay.
Yep. And for all of your subscribers, Hugh, we're offering a promo right now where normally we offer a 2-week trial for $49. Right now, we're offering it for $1. Mm-hmm. Just use the promo code SIMPLY14. That's SIMPLY14.
And that's right above the blue button there. You can see it there on the right-hand side of the screen.
Yep, just put in your promo code, Simply14, apply that coupon, add in your information, and when you add in your email address, it's going to sign you up for an account. When you get signed up for an account, you're going to notice that now a new blue button shows up that's your design request form. So let's show you the back end here. This is what you'd be using on a daily basis to send in whatever design details you want. So we'll walk through doing one together. We'll do my church, Crossway Fellowship, Rob at sepulchurchmedia.com. And let's say we're going to do an Easter sermon series because that is coming up quick. And then I'm going to just tell the graphic designer what I want. So we have a Easter celebration coming up. We want a graphic with the cross and a banner. I could describe it in more detail if I want. The more detail you give, the better. If there's some sort of text, I might say text, celebrate Easter, maybe subtext, he is risen. And you can put in your file size and dimensions. And that's going to be, you can either give that in pixels or you can give that to us in inches, whatever is better for you. Or you could even just say, hey, this is for Facebook, and we'll figure out what are going to be the best dimensions for you. So I'm going to say 1920 by 1080. Then you can attach any design files that you want us to incorporate. So an example would be if you want us to use your logo, then you'll need to give us a copy of your logo.
Or if you were Googling and you came across something that looked cool that you want something like that,
yep,
you can download the Google and attach it to say, I want it to look something like this.
Yeah, and so we have a separate section to focus on that. So we have 2 different spots: attach design files if you want to upload, or link design files if you want to paste in a Dropbox or Google Drive link to your design files. But then we have the same thing again for examples and inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
And now, while this isn't required, it's really, really helpful for us to figure out what you want. So what I will often do is Easter 2018. Perfect. A good opportunity to actually use Google Images.
Yeah, this is legal.
Yeah, this is legal. I don't like any of these. Easter celebration. Let's try that. Okay, so I kind of like the wood look. That's kind of my style. And so what I can do here is I can save this image.
Which you do by right-clicking in Windows.
Choose file, upload that. And now your designer will see, okay, this is the style that Rob likes. Let's make sure we keep that in mind. Or you could also give a link to it. So you could right-click and you could copy image address. And then that will do the same thing, but it'll just give them a direct link to see the file that you found. And so we have a couple churches that what they'll do is they use Pinterest. There's tons of great inspiration to be found on Pinterest. And so they'll find a good Pinterest file and they'll copy the image address and they'll paste it into the examples and inspiration spot. And then when our graphic designers receive it, they'll say, okay, I totally understand the style that this church is going for. So when you're all done, very simply, just confirm that you've uploaded all the design info needed. Make sure that you don't see any loading bars here for stuff that had to upload. And that's all there is to it. I'll click submit.
Don't you have to do yes first?
What's that?
Yeah, you have to click on yes first, right?
Yeah, click yes that you've submitted everything you need. Then click submit. And this goes directly to our back end, and our graphic designers get a notification and they begin working on it. You will then also get an email with a summary of everything that you've just laid out. And you can respond to that email if you want any changes made. If your pastor comes to you later on and says, hey, so I want to make sure that we use this logo and I didn't give it to you the other day. You can just respond to the email that we sent you, send us that logo after the fact, and we'll get it added in there. And when we're all done with the graphic, we'll respond to that primary email that you've received, and we'll send you a Google Drive link for you to download all of your design files.
Right. So a couple of things. The communication with Simple Church Media is done through email. That's one of the reasons they can keep their prices so low and so reasonable, right? So you're not going to call and talk to them about it, whatever. It's all done through email. You got to be very thorough. And so that email that's generated from your job submission, that's the one that you will reply to when you need a change, you need an update. That's your communication channel, is through that email. Now, what Simple Church Media is doing for you, say, maybe you have a junior graphic design person in your church. Well, you got to chase them down. You got to call them. You got to ask them to redo things. You got to do all the management of that person and follow up with that person. When Simple Church Media, they're staff. This is a team. And so they've got leaders in their team that are overseeing the graphic artist people, working with them, trying to fine-tune the understandings and manage them. So they are mediating between you and the graphic artist person, the graphic artist person. They're doing the running for you. So that's another benefit you get. You just make your request through email, communicate through email, quickly here, quickly there. They do all the chasing around and making sure things are getting done for you. So that's a really cool thing. Any more questions about this service of Simple Church Media or about the free resources? We're so excited for everybody that joined us today. This has been a really fun time.
Yeah, thank you all so much.
Yeah, and we're going to be doing a lot more of these webinars coming up the next few months. Next week, we're going to have with us Mark Condon. Mark Condon is an inspiration recording artist with Hosanna Records, has a number of hits that's been on the billboards. A lot of people use his songs in worship. He's worship artist. About 3 years ago, God started speaking with him about doing a church plant. And he planted a church in Columbus, Ohio. And today that church runs over 350 people. And so we're going to be interviewing him a little bit about his church plant, but a lot more about his journey, where he came from, the struggles he's been through. One time he had a heart attack and was put on his back for a while. The dedication him and his wife have, and how God has blessed that through the years, and some of the lessons he's learned in church planting, how it turned out differently than he thought it would, and such. So that's what we're going to be doing next week. You'll be seeing some emails coming through about the journey of Mark and Carol Condon, and that's going to be a fun webinar. We're going to hang on here for questions. Anything else, Rob, that you can suggest, recommend, or help?
One more tip that I would give everyone is for consistent graphics, is to put together a style guide or a brand guide. And I mentioned that kind of in passing earlier. And I can send some resources if anybody needs them. But basically, it's just a way to make sure that everything looks consistent with your church communications. And that way, it really pops and it really stands out to everybody that you are communicating with. Say you're posting something on Facebook, you want your church members to immediately know, oh, that's my church, that's New Life Church, and this was meant for me. And they're not going to scroll through it so quickly.
Right. We had an instance. I'm a board member on a Bible college, and the recruiter from the Bible college designed this really nice booth, went to a convention in Illinois, and this convention, youth convention in Illinois, allowed him to buy space on a t-shirt. And everybody who registered at the conference got the t-shirt, and it had the school logo on it. But the booth did not have the logo on it. And it was like the third day of the convention, somebody walked by and told the recruiter, I just figured out that logo on the t-shirt belongs to this booth. The guy grabbed the t-shirt and hung it on the booth and realized the branding wasn't there, right? It was missing. Yep. Yeah. So Rob, how can people contact you?
Yeah, so you can contact me directly by email at hello@simplechurchmedia.com. You could also sign up with us today. Like I said, we're for a limited time going to be offering this offer for all of your list, Hugh, where you can get a 14-day trial for only $1. So I would love to get started on making some graphics for your churches. If you guys just want to sign up and try us out, there's no contracts, there's no risk. If for any reason you're feeling like it's not for you, then you can just cancel within those 14 days and you'll be totally taken care of. We'll give you whatever designs we've made in that time, and that'll be it. But yeah, if you want to reach out to me directly, definitely feel free to email me at hello@simplechurchmedia.com. I'd love to connect with other churches, pastors, and ministry leaders.
Sure. I'm not sure who this message is for, Rob, but Rebecca says, he's awesome.
Thanks, Rebecca.
I don't know if it's you, me, or Mark Condon.
We'll say thanks for all three of us.
Reverend Beavis here was asking for your brand guidelines. Do you have a document or a website for that? Or
yeah, how about I send that to you afterwards, Hugh, and you can send that out as a PDF to everyone.
Okay. I can do that, the brand guidelines. And then I will also send an email out with the stock photos in Canva.
Right.
These people didn't catch that. Those website links. Reverend Beavis says, both of us are awesome.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Okay, this has been a great time. Sorry for the little hiccup, but we got it going, and I hope this is valuable. This webinar is going to be on Evergreen, so we'll be sending out an email with the Evergreen link where people can come back and watch the webinar and get the offer. Rebecca says that awesome was for Mark Condon, but it can go out to all three. Rock. It also will be on our YouTube channel. If you go to YouTube and look up Finish Line Planner, you'll find this webinar with a number of others. I forget the count now. I think I've got over 14 different people that we have had interviews and connections with, from Bible colleges to Bible studies to media to leadership to managing challenging churches. We've got a ton of information there for you on YouTube. So it'll be available there too. So thank you to everybody. We all appreciate you joining us today. And if you're watching this in YouTube, the links that we mentioned, we're going to include those in the description. So you can go to Simple Church Media and sign up there, as well as find the links to the free resources that we mentioned here as well. So I'll have a good evening, and we'll hope to see you on our next webinar.